Oh, hi, welcome everybody. My name is Tasha from No Holdbacks. Hi, all my whole No Holdbacks peoples. We have a special guest today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, nice to meet all my holdback friends, and thank you, Tasha, for having me on your show with no holdbacks. I'm excited. I am Brown Girl Interrupting, also known as Maria, and I am a writer. I am a executive producer of a
Oh,
podcaster and a talk series as well called Pain to Power Leading with Love. And
wow.
I am on this iRant network, just like you, kind
Oh
of,
yes, yes.
part of the
Irants.
queens that we
Yes,
are. So
yes,
that
yes.
is
Make sure
me.
that the people know we are queens.
We are queens.
We are queens.
Yes,
Oh
sir.
my God, you did a lot. You definitely do a lot. So tell me more about your series.
So my talk series is called Pain to Power Leading with Love, and the goal of it really is it's about taking stories of different people I meet and what they've experienced in pain, because we all experience pain in different ways. We all,
Facts,
and sometimes
facts.
it's not us; it's the people that we love or people that we care about that have experienced pain.
Mm-hmm.
And some individuals are able to take that and create their own peace and their own growth through it, and through that then they find ways to lead others. And so I am trying to find people that capture that story and capture their story through a really intimate, just like this,
Oh, okay, okay.
conversation. Not in person. I don't get the pleasure of being in person as much, but and so Pain
Yes.
to Power Leading with Love is the podcast that I created to do that, and I'm in season 2.
Oh,
Which is
congrats.
really exciting, really exciting. And I just had episode 2 this past week, and I featured Brandon White, who's an educator who is transforming the way that adult educators are teaching kids, recognizing how racism and systemic racism has impacted their
Oh
learning.
wow. My
So
father was a teacher. God rest his soul. He was an educator. Yeah, he was big on us having education to the point. It's funny. My older sister, who's retired from the military, she's a retired senior master sergeant, and in her retirement speech that she did in Japan when she was stationed, she was explaining how our parents didn't say, "Oh, you got to go to college. You have to go to college," but they had their degrees on the wall. So
mm,
when you got up and you get ready for school and you walk in the hallway, you're seeing degrees on the wall. So if that's not inspiring to you, like, okay, I want to be on the wall. Like you want to be on
mm-hmm.
the wall.
Yeah,
That's like that. That's like people want plaques and stuff and everything, but you want to
want to be
go
on
on
the
the wall.
wall.
To get on the wall, you got to get the degree.
And that's so powerful though. What a beautiful unconscious message, right? I mean, you're in
Yes.
mental health, like
Yeah, I'm studying. I
you're
am studying for
studying
mental health counseling. Indeed.
and so you know how the brain works and you're learning those pieces, right? But that's so important. Those unconscious messages are so important of what we do. So like those are the stories that I
Yes.
pull out as people's like inspiration of like what led them to believe and feel, what they feel, and how they make it through the pain, how they show resiliency. So that's what I think is so important.
What kind of pain did you have? Like, what serious pain that you had to like? You figure like, you know what? I'm going through this. I did this. I'm screaming. I can't handle this. I mean, we need the no holdback version. Whatever you would normally say on other podcasts, you let go. We have liquor here. We
Okay,
drinking.
we are,
Let's
and
toast it.
thank
Let's
you,
toast it.
thank you.
Let everything go. No holdbacks.
No holdbacks, no holdbacks.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, no, you have to
Um,
take a sip after you
oh
said it.
yeah,
Yes,
oh, I'm
yes, yes.
sorry.
We gotta make
I
sure.
didn't get the directions.
Let me know what exactly led to it. The no holdbacks version.
So the no holdbacks version is that the reason I know pain well, or at least I feel I know my pain well,
Mhm.
I will say, because everybody's pain is different, right? And that's what I've learned is that I started before I had a podcast, I had a blog, and my blog was the story of really, it was my healing, but it was also this story of unpacking and unlearning a lot of messages I had kind of absorbed over years. And it really, the catalyst of it and the big piece of it is that I was married to an asshole. No
Oh,
holdbacks.
oh, there's no holdbacks. No, hold on. Let it be. Me here. No, let it out.
I was married to an asshole who just wasn't a good person. I mean, he wasn't a good person. He didn't treat me right. And there was a lot of unlearning about manipulation, about control, about who I am, about knowing myself, about valuing myself, the list goes on, right? And it's not a new story. It's not an uncommon story, which is one thing I've learned over the time. Is that it is an unfortunately so common story of women, right? Mm-hmm. But I was married for 17 years and I got married when I was 22 years old. And so young. I was really young. I mean, I was a college student. I was a college student.
I was like 22. Woo. I'm just learning about different sexual things at 22.
Well, no, I was pregnant. I was being a mama. I was being a mama for many years.
I mean, you don't have to answer this question. We here are no holdbacks. We don't hold back at the same time. We don't intrude. So if you don't want to talk about something, don't want to talk about that. It's fine. So were you pregnant before you got married?
So I totally don't mind talking about this because this is my story. Okay. So actually what happened was, and this is the first pain I think I really ever felt like, and I'm going to say this because I would say from the lens of like, I feel like I grew up in a lot of privilege. Like I had a lot of privilege. I had parents that loved me, that took care of me. And I've seen so many people who don't have that same kind of privilege in their lives. And there's an impact on it, right? And then there was also like, there was substantial, like I had financial privilege. I grew up in an affluent area. My parents are both doctors, like from another country. So like I grew up in a lot of privilege.
Yes. I could relate.
And that has its lens, but it doesn't mean, and I think it's so interesting because I was talking to someone on my show recently about this, but this idea of like, sometimes people who have privilege in some ways feel like they can't talk about their pain because their pain isn't as valid as someone else's pain that didn't have privilege.
This is true.
And I've had to unlearn that a little bit because the truth of the matter is, so my pain is that I had all these things.
It's your journey.
I was in college. Mm-hmm. I started dating one of my bosses in my job.
Ooh. We're getting the real no holdbacks.
It was a very open-ended dating story. It was not like, it was like what now I guess we call fucking situationships, right? Like it was that, but it was like 1999, right? And
he was
8 years older than me. He owned a house.
But how old were you then?
He owned a house at the time. Like he was like, whoa, like man, right?
But wait, how old were you again?
I was 20 when I met him.
Oh, he was legal. It's all legal stuff.
It's all legal.
It's all legal. Everyone's legal.
I was in college.
We want to make sure we say that.
I was in college.
I want nobody calling, writing the show, asking us questions.
Yeah. No. So I was in college. I was like a junior in college, and literally I was like party girl. I was like having a great time, loving college, loving world, right? And then one day I wake up and I'm pregnant.
That'll do it.
And I'm pregnant. But I'm pregnant with one, my sort of boss's daughter. Child, right? And then I was also, and this is where the pain came. So that was that. And he kind of like jet. He just had his own issues and he jet. And he wasn't there. There. So I was doing it alone. But more than that, I was holding a lot at the time because I was 21. And I was also the first person in my entire family, extended everything family to be pregnant out of wedlock. I was then also
because back then it wasn't celebrities doing it and saying, "Don't worry about it. You don't need marriage. You could do." All that wasn't back then. Oh yeah, that's what the shame and stuff is back then.
Like I came from a South Asian family, so like culture is like big. Like and Muslim, a religious Muslim, and my parents. So these are all the kickers, right? This is where the pain came. My parents were the pinnacle religious family of the community. I was the first girl, not the first to have sex, not the first to get pregnant. Let's be clear, because I knew girls, right?
Of course.
But I was the first to keep a child. So when I had to carry my parents' feelings of me being pregnant and not knowing who the guy was, I had to carry the fact the guy left me. And I had to carry the fact that, like, literally I was hidden sometimes from the community. Like, people would come over and they were like, you got to go upstairs. Like, people can't see you, right? Like, it was a lot. Aww. It was a lot. And particularly for the fact that I was like 21 years old, right? Like, and then I'm like,
I wish I knew you then.
I'm just trying to figure out, I'm going to be a mama. Like, like in my head, it's like, I'm going to be a mama and I'm in college and I'm trying to get my degree. And just like you, like, education was always like, I was never religious. I didn't do anything else my parents wanted me to do, but I was always big about education. and learning. And so, like, now you're going to tell me something in my life is going to change that, and I'm not going to be able to get my degree, and I'm not going to be able to work. Like, everything was blowing up in my mind. So that was my first piece of pain. Fast forward a year and a half, and sadly enough, I married that man. And then
you married the kid's father?
I end up marrying him.
Oh,
I can't. I ended up marrying him, and we had three more children together.
Wait, okay, because I feel like we're doing double dutch right here. I'm like trying to figure out where I'm supposed to jump in. But so wait, you was with him, you had a kid, he left, and then he came back. Like, how did he get back in? Like, how did he get back in your good graces? Like, how did he like, oh, okay, that's. Or did you feel pressure because of the situation itself, and you like, I need to be with the kid's father?
It was a combination. I loved him. I really did love him. Like, you know,
was that your first boyfriend?
He was not. Yeah, I would.
The first serious?
No, maybe the first, but not even really a serious boyfriend. I just really loved him. I don't know. I loved him.
Aww.
And
your first love?
He wasn't my first. But he was probably, which I think that's like great. That's the one that breaks you.
I think it depends on the journey. You know, in my opinion, it depends on the journey, how the relationship, you know, transpired, and the age and the timing and what was surrounded around it. Because sometimes you fall in love with the person, then not just the person, it's the family that comes along with it, that support that you have there. Yeah. And sometimes it's just everything that person does in that, and then, you know, it's so many different dynamics of it. Like, I just don't always put it just in one particular category. Like, that's it, and that's the reason. It's always so much more. Like, it's
no, and that makes so much sense. I think you're right. You can't generalize that, right? Because it is so much more. I think for me, it broke me. I would say that. I'll own it. So yeah, second love. So it was complicated. And the truth is, because I loved him, and yes, my parents put a lot of pressure that, like, you really can't be an unwed mother. Like, this is not something, you know, our community does. This is not something, like, those were all the messages, right? I kept getting over and over again. Although my parents were super supportive, and by this point, my son was 7 months old almost, I think, when he finally came back in, like, full time. He was 6 months when he was 6 months, and then he came back.
Did he have any kids?
He had no kids of his own. He had never been married. But so when he came back in, you know, I wasn't quick to be like, come on in, right? In fact, I was very different than that. I was very much like, I'm like one of those people who, like, once you've, like, done something to me, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna figure this all out myself, and I'm gonna, like, pack up my stuff, and I got this shit. I don't need you, right? Like, that's me, right? But I fell back into some stuff, right? And emotions and heart.
Healing. You didn't heal yet.
I didn't heal.
That's the major thing. You always got to heal first before you make that major decision.
And it took me 22 years even after that to heal.
It's still layers. It's always going to be layers and stuff. Everything has a healing process, and I always tell people that. I always say, in my opinion, I can't say my professional opinion because I'm not there yet. I didn't get the licensure yet, but it's definitely coming. But no one can tell you how to heal and how long it takes you to heal.
Yeah, they can.
And there's going to be different moments and stuff that you might see, and it might bring you to something. It's okay to feel it and go through it. I think that's so much that people don't discuss. A part of healing is like that moment, like your favorite song or the scent that you smell that person might have had. You can take that moment. You can allow yourself to have that moment, so you can go ahead and live through it and be able to move and heal from that. And to know that moment can come up again, and it's okay.
It is okay, right?
Yes.
Because I think, like, that's the
no
thing.
Holdbacks.
Healing is an evolution. It's not like it's not a one-time thing, and it's not a journey even. It's an evolution, because every time you're going to have another painful piece. It's like you've learned something from the other painful piece that you've brought to this, and you heal a little bit more, and you go a little bit more, and like every time. And so I'm long-winded in my storytelling. That is not how my writing is.
Everyone who knows me, the No Holdbacks family, be long-winded, because that's the whole thing that's the reason for it being No Holdbacks.
I love that.
Yeah,
No Holdbacks. Space to be long-winded.
I'm a long-winded person.
I love that's why we vibe
so
well. We get it.
But I also take people on different journeys, and you got to sometimes bring me back. I'm also a Pisces,
Yes.
so you know, like
we swimming through the waters right
yes.
now.
Yes.
So the longer thing is So then, I mean, honestly, it ended up being that I went from I was desperate in the longer term, I think, to be like, just to have my own life, right? And I was like, okay, this guy, I love him. He's going to be this whole different world that isn't my family that I've been like under, with his like always made me feel like I didn't fit in. I just never fit. I never was religious enough. I never was this enough. I never was that enough.
Oh, y'all had the same. He's Muslim too?
No. So he.
Oh, this gets. Oh, I gotta take another sip, people.
Take another sip.
Take another sip,
bro. He was a Catholic, Vietnamese, white-ish, sort of, I guess, white. He's got white in him. He doesn't have he came with a lot of baggage of his own life story.
Wow.
And he was.
That's a lot.
So
that's a mixture right there.
It was a lot of mixtures, and I think this is the Capricorn in me.
Oh, my sister's a Capricorn.
I was like, I got this. I got this. Oh, we got all kinds of no. I'm gonna make it work. I have this thing in my head that I finally let go of, because I have finally done the healing, in which I believed for a long time that I could control the outcome of things if I just willed it and worked hard enough at making it work. So for 17 years, I tried to control the outcome of having a better marriage than I had, having a better relationship, having a better family dynamic. And after 17 years, my daughter was born, and I was holding her one day. And I have 3 sons who are much older. And then I have my daughter in the tail end of it. She's 6, and they're the next one is 11 years apart from her. So I literally was like almost done with children. And then, surprise, I had a girl. But I was holding her one day, and I was in this very familiar argument with my ex. And I could feel everything inside me that was so familiar. And I looked over, and I looked at my daughter, and I looked at him, and I looked at this, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She's going to think this is what love looks like. And that this is what her mother is, a woman who takes this. And I just that was it. It took me like maybe 8 months after that, and I was separated from him. And that's when I started my blog.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Taking that time to heal and realize that moment. And, I'm sure when your daughter gets older, look back. And I'm even your sons, like seeing their mom go through the journey, and, tells them so they can know what love looks like and what's different people's love language and how you're supposed to feel and be receptive of it. And, that's hard. I know it had to be extremely hard. 17 years, 20 something. So that means you had nothing else. That was just.
So I didn't have nothing else. And that's, I think, the thing that I give credit to is I had my professional space. And my professional space.
No, I'm talking about. I'm talking about something else besides that man.
Besides that man, no, that's it. Oh God, that's it. That was
that had to be. So then after that, to go from there and think about dating and all of this, like, how did you the whole thing with No Hold Back, so we try to ask people, how do you be comfortable in your own skin? So it sounds like during that journey, you weren't comfortable in your own skin. Okay. Are you learning, or are you 100% right now you're comfortable in your own skin? How do you feel on your levels of comfortability?
100%. That's a hard one. I don't think I'm ever going to be at a fully 100%.
And that's honest, and I love it. Yes,
I think
it's very hard for any of it. I'm not 100% myself.
Yeah, that's a hard one, right? And I think it's almost like it's misleading for us to want to that, because that's like that idea of perfection. And we're not going to be perfect. And when we let go of being perfect, we just get to be real and honest, right?
As far as no holdbacks.
No holdbacks, right? Honest and real. So I would say I think I'm at like 90%.
That's a great number.
Far. Oh, I'm so far, right? And part of it is the learning. Part of it was leaving, the strength that comes from taking on something that's hard. Like, as hard as it is, discomfort sucks. But when you lean into discomfort, I really believe so many blessings come from it. It's hard in the moment. It sucks in the moment for sure. But things come to you for sure, right? Like, and um, life unfolds in the way it's meant to be.
True. Very true. Are you thinking about dating now, or you've tried dating? Are you on the apps? Because me personally, let me tell you, I've done apps. I was on like 20 different apps, and my friend was like, "How many apps are you on?" I was like, "I don't know. I just keep signing up and trying to find it. I'm keep swiping. I don't see anything. Oh, this app doesn't work. Every time another app.
The app is dead. The app ain't working.
This app ain't working. 'Cause you know what it is? The advertisement for these apps, what it does is just sit there and all the good looking men and how they sound and stuff, and good looking women, they'll be on the apps as far as in the advertisement. But then when you go in and you look, you're like, where are they?
Right.
I'm like,
No.
Where are these people?
Like, this is like so false advertisement. Like, those people were for like for the commercial, and that was it.
You know what they're gonna say? They're gonna say, "Oh, they found love and they got off." That's the key that they're gonna say to you. So you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I need to work harder." Is that what you're trying to tell me? Like, it's so many. The kind of apps they have. Like, one app I was on, it was like this kink app and stuff. So, and then like I had to tell my friend, it was like this sexual app. Oh yeah, I said, oh.
Oh God, there's got to be, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, Tinder ain't the only one.
It's way beyond. Like, I was on an app that's so serious on the kinkiness of it that on the actual app that's on your phone, it just looked like it's just a plain envelope.
Oh wow!
And then you have to, once you hit the app, you have to put a code in to open the app.
Oh wow!
That's what they make you do, because that's the kink. Because the kinkiness of it was
of kink.
Oh yes. You gotta listen. I gotta listen. Do whatever makes you comfortable. Yes. Like me, I'm the type to sit there and it's like can't sleep. Let me put some porn on. I can't sleep real quick. Because it's $1 billion industry. So I know I'm not the only.
Yeah,
do you watch?
No. So okay, so I did. I don't watch now only because
none.
Yeah, like I haven't really found anything that I like.
How do you sleep?
I mean, I got toys.
Okay.
I don't like.
Okay.
So I will use. I have a very vivid imagination, and I have toys.
Oh,
so like,
ladies and gentlemen, those are the main ones that you have to watch out for. They got vivid imaginations, and they can do things without the porn. They on a different level. So you know. I've done both.
Toast to that.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So
I did, like with my husband, I used to, right? Like,
you used to watch it with him?
And it might be that. Because it might be like, why do we have to do this before? Like, this is not doing it for me before, right? Like, so I think
it wasn't. So you did it. Did you? So here's my question: did you do it for him, or you did it for you, or for both of you?
I think it was more for him at the time. But like, there are things that I enjoyed about some of the porn that I watched, right? Like, and I was like, kind of into it, right? But I think I was less into him, so I think that it didn't.
That's the thing about the sexuality
like,
translate,
stuff. Right?
I
like,
tell people if you're into the person and you're into a lot of these different freaky things that you want to do, sometimes like you able to build get from the other person and the level of freakiness can go the comfortability between you two. You have the conversation and then it's go from one level to the next level, and then it could go wherever you want it to go as long as you're both comfortable and it's not disrespecting the other partner. It can get to that level and it could be great. And then that's where the whole no holdbacks happens. You have that conversation. Like, let's have no holdbacks. So what do you like sexually in the whole nine?
So wait, can I speak to that though? Because I think that's huge. Like, I think that's huge. That's trust, right? Like, so if I feel safe and trusting with you, then I will. Like, all that boardroom woman that I am is like
it goes up.
Right? Like, look, I can roll all the ways. I'm like everything, right? Like, but that's it. Like, I think that it's that comfortability of safety and trust. So I will say that I maybe found that in one person that I recently had dated, and
do tell.
But it was misplaced trust, unfortunately, and so but I think I think about that a lot, and I'm like, God, if I just could find a guy I trusted, like I actually liked and felt safe with, oh my God, my life would be fulfilled all the time. Like, honestly, I wouldn't need fucking toys all the time, right? Like, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's I totally agree, right?
That's the best.
Mm-hmm.
We all pray for that type of partner.
Yes.
Once you get that,
Yeah.
Then you could go do other things, but you have to separate. Like, would you ever date someone that you work with now that you've had?
Oh God, no.
That's
Mm-mm,
off limits.
mm-mm. I don't even want to date people that work in my county. Like I don't want.
Damn,
to
not even the county.
Well, because so I work for a school system.
Oh,
I work for a school system, and so yeah, like I definitely wouldn't want to date anybody that works in my school system, even like.
You want them looking at you different, like
No, no.
like I know what you did last night.
Oh, or other people to know your business like that? No.
But see, that's another thing that's I think. Not even I think what I would love for with the no holdbacks is that we get so comfortable it's normalized that it's not even a big deal. Like it's to the point that when I hang around my friends and like I'm known for saying things sexually all the time, but when I was working and stuff, it's something different. Like that filter comes on. But when I'm around my friends and stuff, that filter is off. Almost everything is sexual. But then when you're around other people, you put it back on. Like I feel like it's so normal that when they interact with me, they're like, "Oh, sorry, talk." No. They try to stop it because they know it's coming.
They're like,
out.
hold on. They put up Jaws warning.
Yeah,
yeah.
They'll be like, they'll say pause all the time. Like, oh, here we go. I know I left the door open, touch, and because they know that sexual comment is coming out. Like that's it. Like why?
Yeah. But that's knowing you. Like I think, but that's you being so authentically you, which honestly I love, which is why we're sitting here today, right?
This is true.
Because you are so comfortable, and it goes back to being comfortable in your own skin. And so I will say, like now, 5-6 years ago, was I talking like this? Would I have openly have said these things? Absolutely fucking not, right? Like, but I wasn't, not because I didn't think them.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
It's but because I didn't feel comfortable in my skin like that. That's what it is.
What is your advice to other women and men who've been in marriages like yours, or how you feel like you could get comfortable? What was your way of getting comfortable in your own skin? So maybe that would help them.
So, I will say that dating did help in one way, in that I built my confidence up, which I think a lot of it is that, like, when you're in manipulative and controlling relationships, a lot of the patterns that I've heard, not just for me, but like, is that it's like, you don't feel as worthy, right? You don't see your own value, which is why you allow someone to treat you the way you do. And that was definitely for sure, right? For sure. And I will say, and I think I described this to you the other day, is that it wasn't even that I just didn't see my own value, is that I had sparks of glimmers of light that came from me. And as soon as they came out, my ex would smother them. So it's like, but yet I could go out in the world and be that person a little bit when I wasn't with him. And that's how I continued to still like not allow it to completely extinguish. I think if I didn't have that, if I didn't have my sisters from my workspaces, and I didn't have my like, I went and finished my master's in the process. I did like a bunch of different things. I had a couple different jobs, right? Like I kept going and doing things for myself. But if I didn't have that, and I think that's a lot of women in particular, one of the things we do is that we commit to the men and we make them everything. And so first off, the first healing piece is make yourself everything. And that's hard. That's so, so hard, but you have to make yourself everything and rely on you and trust you and but also give yourself space to cry, to yell, to scream. I mean, write about it, right? Maybe don't post it all over the internet.
Yes.
You can't. Yes. Like, I've had some slack from posting it on the internet. Believe me, it hasn't been all easy in sharing like a very personal story all over which is my blog. It literally is the story of my marriage, of being a mother, of going through dating, right?
It's part of your healing.
And it's part of my healing because it's a lot of the lessons.
So you can hear it.
Yeah.
Once you say it out loud, you could say you lived it, you did it, and that's what it was.
And you got through it.
Yes.
And you got through it, and that's the big thing. And I think for me, the piece that I always try to bring into my blog is that it's like, so what did I learn from it though? So my blog was Pain to Power, Leading with Love, and I guess I didn't fully realize it until I started this talk series where now it's other people's stories of pain to power, leading with love. So.
Wow, that's beautiful. Has anyone ever listen to your blog or reach out to you because of your blog that it hits home with them?
Actually, yeah, it's wild when that happens, but it has happened before where like uh randomly, like I because my show has like a lot of people that I don't necessarily know personally, like I
Mm-hmm.
TikTok stalk people.
Oh, nice.
It's kind of how I started. Like when I say I slide into DMs, like I slide into DMs like networking. Like I'm like, come be on
A
my
network
show,
slider.
right? Like come be on my show, right? So I would do that with a lot of people. And so so for some of them, I totally forgot my train of thought now. Your question, I'm sorry.
That people reach out to you.
Oh, so their guests would
Mhm.
come and watch my show, and then they'd start following me. And so I've actually had a few people who followed some of the people that were on my show who
Mhm.
reached out to me, and they're women who just like, I have the same story.
Wow.
I've experienced this before. Like, what you said really resonated with me. And literally yesterday we were sitting the other day, and someone read my blog piece while we were sitting in the same space and looked over at me, and she was like, I totally get this. Like this like
Mm.
makes sense to me. And that's what it is I think that there's so many commonalities in the experiences we have, but we don't always talk about them.
True. True. We hold it in.
We do.
That's why we have to let out no holdbacks. You have to do no holdbacks.
No holdbacks, which is why this is amazing, because no holdbacks is it's the power.
Yes.
It's the
Give
power
yourself that power.
voice.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. I love it. I mean, I'm absolutely like loving your premise, loving the show, loving the
thank you.
setup. Like this is fancy. I'm not this
Thank you.
fancy. And I certainly don't have drinks, and my guests don't get to get the drinks. If I have drinks, it's like I have water by the side.
Well, that's due to my parents being Southern parents, so it's the whole Southern hospitality. So, people coming over, you make sure that you have their drinks. I like to ask my guests what's their favorite drink. I try to get that alcohol for them. I don't like to say the brand because no one's paying me. No one's paying you for it.
No one's paying us.
So, but I can say the kind of drink, but I know you wanted tequila, and you say either tequila or you wanted some rum with coconut, and they didn't have that. So I was like, okay, but they did have coconut rum. I'm like, oh, there you go.
She got me coconut flavored tequila, and it is delicious. And I was like, that is such a like. So those are the things, right? These dynamics, like these little nuances of the way that we move in the world, and I love it.
Yeah.
Like I can see that you're such a caretaker, such a nurturer. Like
she
also has a spread of food. Like it's lovely. Like y'all should like if this was a live set, y'all all be having a good time, right? Like this would be a party with Tasha.
I would have plenty of
holdbacks.
food and it'd be enough food spread out, and then everyone just be eating and having drinks and
that's
water.
But it's all connection to the idea of collective like stuff, right? Like so that's what I do. Like that's what's important to me is like learning together, being together, building together. Like so.
Oh yes, the networking,
thing, right?
Yeah, and I'm so
and bring
appreciative.
The drink and the food. And...
You know what they say? Alcohol, music, and food. That could bring people together. Yeah, because music just transcends to like everywhere. You could go in another country and hear a song, and they don't speak the language, but they know the words to that song. And I always found it to be so amazing when I used to see concerts and stuff and you would see someone tape it and they're playing on the internet. You look at it, you're like, wow, how do you know the words? And then when you find out all these different artists, especially in I'm a huge hip hop fan, and groups like Wu-Tang will go over to Japan and stuff, and then you see like, oh wow, like how much their music just transcends all over. I have a two friends that are Filipino, and one of my friends, I always ask her if I want to know a hip hop song back in the day, if I want to know how popular you are or were, I would ask them, have you heard of this artist? And then they'll be like, yeah, we heard of them. Like it's funny, I had asked one, I'm like, you heard Salt Pepper? Yeah, and they'll start singing the lyrics. I'm like,
that's cool.
So that's how I know how big you are based on my friends knowing you because they grew up in their country and then they came here. So that's why I would be like, okay, so you know them, you know this one, you know this one. They'd be like, yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's amazing. So music just, and of course liquor is just, when I say a drunk body equals a sober tongue. It's a sober tongue. So you're gonna say what you always wanted to say,
Okay.
but that liquor comes out, and you be like,
It's the truth. It's the truth serum. That's
drunk
true.
body equals a sober tongue. So you be like,
that is a strategic way to have a show called No Holdbacks for sure. And it's delicious and it's very nice. And I love that. Like, yeah, like the idea of music, drinks, and food, they bring people together.
It does. And thank you for coming on this show. But I want you to let everyone know exactly where they can find you.
So thank you for having me on the show.
Oh,
this is awesome. This is a great day. Like, I really enjoyed this. So I am you can find me on Instagram as Brown Girl Interrupting. Everything is Brown Girl Interrupting.
I love that. I love that so much.
Thank you. I'm excited about my name. Right, it's
Yes.
kind of cool to say
Yes.
that, right? But also, my blog is www.browngirlinterrupting.com. But if you go to my Instagram, you'll see my direct me and have all my links there. Please go follow me.
Yes. I'm already following her. You have to follow her too. Yes. She's amazing.
Follow me for sure. And definitely go and subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow and hit the bell so that you make sure that you catch our episodes, because I have Pain to Power Leading with Love on Sunday nights at 9:00.
Oh, nice.
And my blog, I update it. So my recent piece was called, if you're interested in my relationship life,
They are now. And they weren't before. They are now.
Is Awakening to the Game He Played.
Ooh.
So
I like those. Your titles are amazing.
Thank you. I like to be a little extra. I'm a little extra in everything I do.
Exactly.
That is who I am. But this is authentically me. No holdbacks.
That's
and
right.
It's a
No
beautiful
holdbacks.
thing. And it's a blessing and an honor to be on the show, to be able to be no holdbacks for a whole episode.
Thank you. You have to come back.
I would love to come back. And you got to come on my show, right?
Oh, of course.
Because this is all about Pain to Power Leading with Love. So
yes,
we are continuing this conversation in a different venue.
Oh, I've never been interviewed before, so this is going to be different.
Oh my goodness! Oh girl, well then you got to be interviewed. That's not even a question. Yes.
Just so you know, I bring my no holdbacks mentality to shows.
Please. Of course, you're supposed to.
I'm gonna be authentically me, always.
As it always should be.
But thank you, ladies, gentlemen, friends, my no holdbacks family, NHB. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
I hit stop cam. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's the time. Leave studio. What do we do?